Ted, you've been playing piano for a long time, but what have you always really wanted to be?
Oh, a technician.
Today, we're going to become technicians, me and you, virtual technicians. We're looking at Kawai's Piano Remote app. It's a brand new app, but it really unlocks the usability of the virtual technician, which we've been asked to demo before. Today, we're going to look at it. We're going to screen share on my phone, look at all the different parameters of the virtual technician, and we're going to be using the CA79 to hopefully hear some of the little nuances and changes you can do. I'm really excited. What about you?
I'm thrilled.
Let's check it out.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in beautiful downtown San Antonio, Texas.
And I'm Patrick Marr. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We really appreciate your support, and we love to interact with you guys. Well, Ted, technician time. This is exciting.
This is what it's all about. You know, when you buy an SKEX piano, they send that technician to your house.
It's great, yeah.
And this way here, you get a digital piano from Kawai, and you get a technician sent to your house.
And you don't have to worry about ruining, you know, a $40,000, $50,000 piano.
Or $100,000.
$100,000 piano if you got the SKEX and you're spending 6 figures on your piano and you don't want to mess it up and make it.
Yeah, and you don't have
ruined.
to wait 2 hours or do something for 2 hours and show the guy, see that? I did that on that one key. I want that on all of them.
It's, you know, the more advanced of a player you are, the little small things matter a whole bunch. And I feel like this kind of looking at the virtual technician through the lens of, okay, well, what are the different things that you can change on an instrument? It kind of opens up, expands your mind of, okay, well, there's these options. And, you know, like, yeah, at first on digital pianos, you could adjust the touch curve, and people are like blown away by that. It was like, oh, I can make the sensor delayed enough. You know, it's tricks of technology. They can delay the sensor so it feels like you have to really press a little bit harder to get the noise to be out there, or the vice versa, and you know you have a lighter sensor and it's, you know, a lighter action perceived.
Right. And that's what's interesting about the items that they pulled on a list for the virtual technician, is that it's a combination of regulation and voicing adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that basically means is that a lot of the things you may not hear a difference, but you'll feel it in the keys. And it is amazing how they can change the mechanics just by virtue of how it triggers the software.
Yeah.
And that to me is amazing, especially when I was playing it and you're changing it, because you can feel it in the keys. It's like, what does that change? It doesn't do much on the sound, but you need to feel this keyboard. Because as the knob is sliding, it's changing, the response is changing.
So yeah, so there's a combination of things that are actually happening within the unit. It's either a sensor, you know, a sensor delay, a trigger of technology like that, or they're actually adjusting the EQ and then adding things like modeling around the sample. So we'll get into it. We'll look at some of these parameters. But first, we are going to open up the Piano Remote app and take a look. So I will get this going here. Let me make sure connected
This
here.
is our big editing challenge for this video.
I know we're gonna screen share here. So hopefully this will be screen shared. All right, perfect. So we are in the Piano Remote app. It is connected to the CA79. It's on the SKEX rendering. So we are on the big 9-foot Shigeru Kawai from Kawai. You go down here, and then piano variations up at the top are some different voicings that you can do while playing it. We've done that before on some of our videos, but today we're going to look at that second, you know, tab right there, Virtual Technician. And so they have like a default setup, so that's like your default on all the settings. You can actually scroll through that and go to noiseless. You can go to deep resonance, light resonance, soft, brilliant, clean, and these are auto adjusting, just different ones, dark, rich.
Funny that they put noiseless first, because the very first digital pianos 30 some odd years ago were entirely noiseless. All they made was an 8 watt sample, and when you listen to it, and then as they tried to improve it, people kept saying it still doesn't sound like a piano. And what a lot of people don't realize, when you're listening to a piano, almost about 50% of what you're hearing is knocking noise. It's a percussive sound.
Yeah,
and some of it rings, and some of it cuts off, and some of it is really short, it has zero decay. Some of it's just a bump sound. And unless all those noises are in there, it's not going to sound like a real piano.
Yeah, you can't just mic it up and hope that it sounds.
The closest thing I want to say in the mid 80s is once the DX7 came out, is it took 8 of those things to get a somewhat believable acoustic piano sound, and one of them was just a knocking sound.
The knock, and
just
then
the
attack.
like a thump. It's a combination between a snare drum and a kick drum.
No, No, that's interesting. And so let's take a listen to some of just the defaults. I think if you play for a minute or two, I'll scroll through here. We'll have the screen sharing on so you can see us actually.
Some of them are great for note to note, and some of them are better for chord. And then there's a few you actually have to use the pedal.
Yeah. So we'll just we'll go through some of the presets on there.
Now they have the little pictures on there when you go into it, though, right?
Well, we're gonna do the presets.
Okay.
So just the noiseless.
Okay.
So we'll play through those real quick, and then we'll go through the actual parameters. This is the default. This is noiseless here. Deep resonance.
Got a lot boomier.
This is the light resonance here. Here a little more brilliant. This is soft. Brilliant. Clean right here. At full. Dark on this one. This is rich. I think this is one of the last one. Historical. And then it goes to user. So, that's kind of, they use those as the presets so you can kind of just look at it from an overview and say, oh, this is how different all these parameters can get you different sounds. So we'll go into edit. Once you click edit, it automatically creates a user one that you are making, and you can, if you find something you like, you can save that to that list of presets. So you can be like, this was Monday, and I came up with this one. I'm gonna name it Monday. So we'll go into edit. So the first parameter that you can touch on here is obviously the touch curve. And so it starts off at the normal touch curve, and we were kind of talking about this, but the differences between, the response of the unit to you and as the player. So this one will be harder to hear, but is more it's when you're sitting there feeling the instrument, you hit with the same velocity, you're going to get either louder or softer depending on it. It's a lighter. If it's a lighter action, it's going to feel like it's very quickly giving. It's kind of like a crazy trick because the key's actually not changing, the mechanism's not changing, but the response is, and so it feels like your action's fast all of a sudden,
right?
Or it feels like it's very hard and you're pressing down.
Right. You can play to where you play very light, but it sounds like you're really powering down every single one of the keys. So
we'll just do the smallest and the hardest. So it's called light 4 is. That's light 4, and then we'll go to heavy 4. So all that's doing is adjusting the feel of it, but it really kind of makes the response of what's going on feel like a heavier action or a softer action. So it's really neat to play on those. If you've gone to any sort of piano store, or if you have a digital piano, you should look up if it has that capacity, because a lot of keyboards, pianos have this built in where they can adjust the feel. I've never seen one with 8 parameters. That's one of the biggest spreads.
They used to have 3, like it's soft, medium, and hard.
Yeah.
And like now, I can tell you that the older I get, I used to like a setting that was more toward the hard end, where you kind of had to hit it hard. The older I'm getting, I don't like playing so hard anymore. So
the lighters.
I'm getting more toward the normal, or the not the light, because the light is a real super soft touch, but it's got a bright, punchy sound.
Yeah, and you can turn it off too, so you can turn the touch curve off. But just a cool parameter
it's
there.
Just a minute thing that makes it really kind of perfect.
And the biggest feel that the biggest thing on this menu that you can change and really feel immediately, whether you're a novice or an expert, you can feel the difference. Right. Another really fun one is voicing. So a lot of the differences in how a piano sounds are how it's been voiced. And do you want to talk about the hammers and how voicing works?
There's two extremes that you normally get on voicing for a piano. A lot of times it all depends on the pianist. 40, 50 years ago, concert pianists used to like a piano that was extremely loud and extremely bright, so that the person sitting in the top of the back row could hear every single note that they played, because they practiced and rehearsed it. And so they didn't want anyone to miss it. So that a lot of times what they would do is lacquer the hammers to make them really, really hard. But then the next night you might have a guy go in there that's going to play nothing but some really soft Debussy music. And so you're going to have a technician go in there with the prongs, like it's kind of like 2 little jabber things that they poke into the hammers, and like they soften them up. They're needles. And so what that does is that loosens up the wool and the hammer, so it doesn't hit it so hard. It gives a softer delivery on the string.
Yeah, so let's listen to a couple of those, hear the differences. It starts off on normal voicing. This is mellow. This is mellow 2. Dynamic. Bright. Bright 2. So we'll go back to normal there.
You can feel those too.
Yeah, you can. It's just the response
those you can feel
of
them and you can hear them.
And so just right there, there's 8 different touch curves. There's 4 or 5 different voicings. So just with those alone, switching in and out, brighter on a lighter action or a heavier action with a mellow tone. There's so much variation right there that you can just start experimenting with, and then you just move down the list. And
that plus that top board thing gives you a whole range of EQs.
Yeah, and so you can really start experimenting, and if you find a combination you like, immediately you can save it, which is fun. And so damper resonance. So damper resonance has to do with when the damper pedal is held, how much resonance you're getting from
the adjacent strings.
Yeah, and so how much you're getting. So we'll do all the way down. We'll turn it off first, and then we'll turn it on and just play something with the damper down.
I'll just play an arpeggio up. I think should be able to demonstrate.
So this is off. Then we'll do the same thing, but we'll turn it up to the extreme 10.
That sounds more like an open stringed harp on a piano.
Yeah, so you really get some of that resonance. The preset is 5, but you can kind of go in and change adjustments there. Damper.
That very first one with 0 damper resonance is how the 8-bit machine sounded when they first came out.
Yeah, there was no modeling around it.
There was nothing, every note on its own. If you played 2 others, well, they had to find a way to go together. It took at least 10 years before software said, this note, if it's playing and these other 2 are playing, they're all affecting one another. That's kind of where that resonance comes in.
It just took thinking out it from a macro lens. So let's listen to damper noise. This one's fun. So damper noise off. This is going to be when the pedal's held down, all the dampers go up, and there's usually, if you're around an acoustic piano and you try that, you hear it open up. The strings all kind of go, oh, like a breath of fresh air. So this is off. We're not going to hear anything. We'll turn it on all the way. So you might need to turn up your speakers, but
That is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's all the hammers release off of all the strings, and it's just like,
all the damper.
It kind of comes up.
And then you hear go, they drop back down.
What's funny is my piano at home, if I hold the damper down and a walker or a jogger or a bike goes by and my dogs start barking, the bark, the sound of the bark gets absorbed into the piano with the strings resonating and everything. And I hold it down and then they stop barking, and it's like you hear it keep going.
The dog's barking in the one string that
yeah,
it's close to.
It's all vibrating, so it's pretty funny to hear that.
Another neat effect, a lot of people that are recording vocals a lot of times, they put a speaker or a microphone right up and sing into the back end of a piano, or you sing into a soundboard with it off, so you get that resonance. But every now and then you got to dampen the strings in between lines, so you get like a strange reverb that's almost gated, like it comes in when you sing and it goes off when you use the damper as your all the strings as your
yeah, it's like a gate.
It's a neat effect.
So string resonance is next. And so this, when it's turned up and exaggerated, the resonance is going to build between the passages. So we can do a passage with it down. I think it really kind of works best when you hold out a note for a while too.
Okay.
So strike like maybe a chord. That's with it off. And so with it on, let's hear it.
Makes the ending a lot more musical.
Yeah, it kind of holds on to
the... Gives a nice, pretty ring.
Yeah, it gives you that nice mid-range.
To some of it, not all of it, just some of it.
To that like kind of upper register.
Well, it's supposed to resonate the strings that are in the chord that you play across the harp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so undamped string resonance is next. Do you ready for that one?
Yeah.
So I think when it's off,
and then full on?
When it's full on. So this is also vibrating the strings that are, when the damper's up, it's gonna, if it's like a C in the lower register, it's gonna vibrate the Cs that are undamped above it. So like a sostenuto pedal.
Ah, sostenuto pedal.
So those notes.
These down here?
Yeah, so the notes that are in the chord are going to resonate because of.
That's them right there.
Yeah, and so yeah, you hear it there, the undamped strings. So when they're undamped in the chord, they're going to resonate because of physics. So that's a pretty cool trick that if you do on an acoustic piano, if you hold down like a C and an E in the bass without striking and just let the dampers go up, you keep it held and then you strike a C up above, those two will start resonating underneath it. So a pretty cool thing. Cabinet resonance is going to be the resonance of the entire instrument. We can turn that off. This one is just going to be, again, a more full sound when the whole thing is resonating together. Your soundboard.
Yeah, it seems what it does is it takes the EQ, and when it's, if I can remember right, it's one way or the other. It seems like it takes both the left and the right and kind of brings them more toward the middle, and it spreads it back out. And I don't know which one is which.
I think when it's up, it's going to be it's a bigger spread, and a bigger resonance. So we'll go off first with the cabinet resonance.
Okay.
All right, and then we'll go all the way up.
More angelic ring for a lot longer time on that.
The decay is a lot slower on the overall sound, so it kind of just holds a lot of the meat a lot longer. I think you're not losing a lot in the cabinet. So
it focuses the power back into the
because on a piano, the thinner the cabinet is, the quicker the sound off the soundboard starts to it dissipates and goes. And you lose.
Well, they have decay on there too.
Yeah, they do as an individual thing, but the resonance, the thicker the rim, the more stays on that soundboard, on that spruce, and the longer that it's going to go for. The key off effect is pretty cool. This is kind of
this is where
there's a thud noise.
Yeah, you can feel the everything clunk in the background.
So the key off is the hammer coming back, and so you get when you're letting off of the key.
Right, you can hear
the key reset basically. So let's do it off and then on. That's off. This is on. Do it in the top register too. I think so this is on still, those higher ones, yeah. And then off.
Not as much knocking sound.
Yeah, sorry, that's key off. I was looking ahead at hammer noise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the key off effect is the one we were just listening to. The fallback noise also. So this is
I thought that's what that was. No,
that was key off effect.
Okay, that's key off.
So fallback noise is next. And so this is actually the hammer resetting. This is where you should hear.
This is the one where you can hear it.
You can hear and, yeah, so all the way up. It's like the reset at the end. And then back. This is off. And back on.
Yeah, it's noisier.
It's like the doop, like the reset. All right, so hammer noise, and yeah, so hammer noise is next. This is the one where you can really kind of hear the hammer strike in the upper.
This is one of the sounds.
We'll turn it down first, and then on.
And now that note right there, on every piano in this store that's acoustic, sounds entirely different based on that effect right there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you hear more of the machine, sometimes you hear more note. But usually on that top note, it's a combination like half noise, half note.
Mm-hmm.
It's always one
very
of the
percussive. Yeah.
Very percussive.
And then there's hammer delay, which is gonna when you're playing pianissimo, kind of change when it strikes.
Yeah, because a lot of times on softer passages, the way a pianist is going to play is they're going to play it softer.
So the hammer strikes.
And so the hammer's going to move just a little bit slower.
If you've ever pulled an action out, you see it. You kind of mess with it. It starts to slowly come up instead of a faster.
There's
effect.
a point to where you don't want that instrument to play perfect. You want it to play like you don't want it to respond so fast. You want to slow the response, so you have to slow the action.
Yeah, and so this one comes in the default as off, but we'll try to represent it here off and then on.
Okay.
In pianissimo. So this is off. And then all the way up. And so, all right, and then they have the top board. You can change the adjustment of what it sounds like fully open to closed to. So there's 5 adjustments on there.
That's not to be underestimated. That one they should put as the first, because most people, you want your piano open or closed or halfway, and I always like it where it's just open. I really love a piano that's close to being a box.
Okay, so you can play, and I'll make the adjustments on here. Just play a couple passages, and we'll listen to them. That's fully closed there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can just
tell it gets boxier and boomier.
Okay, very cool. And so decay time and release time are going to be really kind of more advanced EQ effects. So you can change how fast the decay off of a string is going to be.
Those are almost synth effects on a piano applied to a piano.
Yeah, so let's just do the extremes of decay. I'll turn decay and release all the way down.
I'm going to do a one-note test on this, because this should be able to stand out. That's with both the release and the decay.
Up, yeah. So let's turn the decay all the way down and leave the release up. And let's turn the release down and turn the decay up.
Oh, that decay right there, that's the sound of almost a fast attack, zero decay. That's like a clavinet.
Yeah, so you can really mess around with these two effects and kind of get into some really unique sounds. Minimum touch is going to be how much you need to set off the sensor. So this is another one where it's kind of about feel, and this is not something we really need a demo on the video. It's more about.
It's not anything they're going to hear.
Yeah, it's about the feel there.
They have to hear me go, oh, I can feel it.
So and then stretch tuning is pretty interesting. You can stretch it. You can turn it off. You can have a normal stretch or a wide stretch. This is only going to work on equal temperament, and then once you start messing with the temperaments.
That goes off.
It goes off. So let's real quick just listen to stretch tuning off. I'll kind of adjust it. Just do a couple runs. Do 3.
Well, let me get this right here.
This is normal. Wide.
That really opens up a lot.
And so we'll leave it on normal, and then stay right there. We're going to go through a couple of temperaments, but this is kind of the adjustment of how to tune the instrument. If you want equal temperament, which actually doesn't even exist on a real piano, but equal temperament.
Just in all the music today.
Yeah.
And it doesn't exist,
on a real piano.
But it's in all the music today.
So this is equal, and I'll just quickly, we'll screen share, and I'll go through these.
Good?
Yeah. Pure major. Minor, pure minor.
That one mostly affects thirds.
Pythagorean. I switched in the middle to mean tone. This is one of your favorite ones, the Werkmeister.
The Werkmeister.
And then the Kernberger. So those are the temperaments. Again, it's kind of funny, equal temperament doesn't actually exist. Do you want to talk about that for a minute? Because it's very fascinating.
It is fascinating, and some of the keyboards we have, you can actually go and change these tunings, and they'll give you a visual of one octave. It'll show you which keys are tuned down and how many cents they're tuned off of the original note. But
and why does it have to do that?
It does that because what it does is it forces the tuning for this reason. If you're a pianist, you're the guy that makes all the mistakes with the symphony and during the opera. In other words, a lead soprano or lead tenor and a lead violinist and violist, they each have different ways to play. Mm-hmm. So for an example, to a classical musician, an A flat is a different note than a G sharp. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the violinist will play it differently and the soprano will sing it differently. They're going to sing it tended toward one of the slighter tones. Mm-hmm. And on a piano, it's just right in the middle. And because of equal temperament, that means that none of the black keys, if you're playing in the key of C and all the white keys, none of the black ones are going to be true accidentals, because they're going to favor right in the middle instead of the other side of where the tuning would really like them to be, where a violinist is going to hear it, where a soprano is going to sing it. So they're always a little bit out of tune. And it's been that way since the addition of a harpsichord to an orchestra. That's when they first started coming out with a lot of scale problems. So like one guy's tuned to a scale from his neighborhood and the other guy has another one. So a lot of this comes into play with temperament and also pitch and tuning. And a lot of it has a lot to do with the tone of music, the overall tone of music.
Yeah, and then what, like a piano structure too, like has to lean one direction or the other. From my understanding of from a physics standpoint, the strings actually are going to have to go, flat or sharp depending on who the tuner is and what tuning.
Sure. If you have a piano and you hire a tuner, if the tuner says, okay, what's going on here tonight? Said, tonight we're going to feature a bunch of classical players. We have a quartet coming in. So could you tune the piano like it's for a symphony? That way there, you know, your violinist will be happy. It's going to have that stretch tuning in the top.
Yes, it's just...
And you know, it's going to be up in the top and down in the end, which is the way they like it, because it gives them a level playing field.
So it's very fun to kind of dig into the Virtual Technician and then also just look at the research of why these adjustments are here. So
and the other thing is, if the guy says that, oh, there's the pop music going on tonight, international stars coming, equal temperament straight across the board.
Yeah.
Just because that's where pop and a lot of jazz music and R&B is right there in the middle. Older rhythm and blues and way back when, that's going to change different tunings. But equal temperament is...
But can it exist on an acoustic piano?
It does when you tune it. Well, it's hard to make it exist on an acoustic piano.
Because everything's always going to be a balancing act. So it's really fun to mess around with those. Really fun topic to research as well. Temperaments in tuning. Really just fun that you have all this access at your fingertips with the Virtual Technician. I know that's kind of in our intro why I was like, you've always wanted to be a technician.
Yeah, well, that was a kind of a joke because, you know, the other thing too with the Kernberger and the Werkmeister tuning is both of those give a different tone to the pentatonic scale, which are the black keys. And so the black keys sound different on those tunings.
Yeah.
Unless the tuner favors the black key. So if you're playing a lot of, you know, Liszt and Chopin, that's going to have at least 5 flats or sharps and everything. He's going to tune a little bit different.
It's very fascinating. So we'll go to key volume, and this has to do with the damping of like the high register, low register, the middle register. And so we'll just, if you want to go play through a couple passages, we'll listen to it here. So this is on normal key volume.
Key volume.
That's normal. We'll listen to high damping. Low damping. High and low damping. Center damping.
That actually feels and sounds like when you're playing it that you're just changing the center of the soundboard. It sounds like you're just moving the center of the soundboard on a grand piano.
It's pretty interesting.
That's
yeah.
a strange. That's a strange.
It dampens
effect.
whatever you're. So like the high, the low, or the middle, or the high and the low. Leave the middle. So yeah, definitely a lot to play around with there. While I can imagine messing with this and the temperament at the same time. You know, it's a world of fun, exciting things. As a pianist who has usually, you know, you don't have a lot of control over your instrument. You know, a guitarist, you know, can tune to whatever tuning they want to immediately, and you're stuck. You're like, can you come tune my piano next week? Maybe 2 weeks from now. Okay, and then it's very expensive and a hassle to ask someone to make adjustments.
Well, how would you feel if a tuner walked in and says, "Okay, Patrick, you got 226 strings on your piano. How do you want them touched? How do you want them tuned? How do you want them? What's your idea of perfect temperament for your piano?" And who could really answer that question?
Nobody, yeah, because all these are imperfect instruments, and it's fun to, in a digital world where they are working so hard to create
beyond perfection.
Beyond perfect, yeah,
it really is.
And so the last adjustments that they have are half pedal adjustments and soft pedal adjustments. Soft pedal depth and half pedal adjustments. So we can kind of mess with this here, but the half pedal adjustment would mean.
You could do closer to a gradient use, and on the grand piano, what's nice about that is that damper effect. When the soft pedal, when you slide the soft pedal over, it changes the number of strings and the manner in which those strings are getting hit by the hammer. So they're not getting hit dead center by the hammer anymore. They're getting hit by a part that doesn't normally hit the string, so it should be softer and make a little bit mellower sound.
Yeah, so you can go in and adjust how these are triggering off and how the depth of it as well. So soft pedal depth is going to, you know,
which is using the left pedal on the piano. That's
soft pedal.
The far left one, right.
And so which one do you want to do? Because the half pedal adjustment is going to be on the sustain.
Okay, well let's do a half on the, let's do this soft pedal on the left first.
Okay, so we'll turn it all the way down and then all the way up.
Okay, so right now I'm not using it. I'll play the same passage and then I'll put the pedal on.
And then we'll turn it up.
Now I'll put the pedal on.
Now I'll turn it up.
Oh, that made it real soft.
So yeah, so there's 10 different adjustments there. We went from 1 to 10.
Those are great.
And so, all right, half pedal adjustment on the sustain.
Sustain.
We'll turn it off, or all the way off.
And now I'm supposed to go half pedal?
Yeah, half pedaling on it. And then kind of slowly release off of it and see.
Yeah, you can almost hear the noise of the damper.
And then I'll turn it up on that one, the half pedal adjustment. So
that sounds like real dampers laying on the string.
Yeah, so it's very cool. Again, this is all the different things that you can do with the Virtual Technician app. Really kind of creating one of the coolest sounding instruments. You know, and you've created it at the end of this. You know, you've changed the touch curve. You can change everything in it. You can change the tuning. You can change what's damped. You can change all this stuff. And it really starts to become fun to experiment with voicing in your own music.
Fun to the point where you think after a while you mess with that technician so long you haven't really played a song or piano. It's like, I don't know what I like the best.
Yeah.
You know, so I go back to the defaults.
It can be distracting, but it kind of keeps you at the instrument, which is cool.
It does, but it gives you an idea as to why so many true acoustic pianos, when you go out and hear or listen, or you go out and you play them, or you go to a store, it's like, every single one, they're hitting the same notes, but they all sound different. It's because of all these things are built into each piano differently.
There's so many factors, and when you start stacking them, you know, it'd be interesting.
How old is it? 20, 30, 40? In some instances, we get them over 100 years old. Well, the dampers are kind of old and worn out, and the springs are older. And so all those things, this is like making it all brand new again.
It's exponential too. We should have done that. We should have done the calculation on how many adjustments there are. It's like Sonic when you order a drink. You know, they're like there's a million combinations or something. I can't even imagine that. You know, each one there's 17 parameters and all the different things. It's crazy. It's astronomical. But just a very cool, awesome utility that's very user friendly. Hopefully, you guys got a chance to see how it works. Maybe it interests you in the Kawai that you already own. Maybe it interests you in Kawai products because it's a very cool utility with their digital pianos. If you've had a chance to use any of the Virtual Technician software, please leave comments below of what you liked about it, maybe what you didn't like about it, some of the things that they've improved over the years. I really enjoy that it's on that Piano Remote app now. And so Piano Remote in the App Store on Apple, in the Google Store on Android using, and so it's just very user-friendly, works with all their units that, besides the ES110, it's going to work with pretty much anything in the ES line. In the DG30, it's going to work, the CA series, the CN series, the KDP series. The only thing I don't think it works with is the stage pianos, the MP11, MP7. They're not going to work on those, or the ES110. But very cool, user-friendly software, and we had fun playing around with it.
It's a super addition. It's a great kind of a variation, a variable to give to an already phenomenal instrument.
Yeah, so lots of fun. Thank you guys for watching. This is Ted. I'm Patrick. We're at the Alamo Music Center. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. Thanks for watching.